All right, we're live. What's going on, guys? It has been a little bit. It's been a little over a week. I just got back. I've been in Europe for like a week and a half. So I wanted to take some time and actually get to go out. The market's a different time over there. So market opens at depending on at 2:30, 3:30, depending on where you are over there. And I was out and about, wanted to actually take some time away from the market. So it was really nice. I'm glad to be back for sure, but did want to let you know I missed you guys, and I'm glad to be back. We should be here every day this week. Back home. Yeah, we got some good movers to keep an eye on this morning. It's just gonna be me this morning. I know Matt is busy, so just be me. I should be here with you guys every day this week. Yeah, Carlos says been a while. Feels like it. Yeah, I missed you guys too. Good to hear. Yeah, Europe was great. Went between Scotland and the Netherlands for a week and a half. 5 days in Scotland, like 4 days in Holland, and just awesome out there. Always great to be over there. So happy to be back. I feel really fresh. I did trade while I was over there, but it was a lot more. It's funny. I traded over there, but a lot less actively. I wasn't sitting in front of my computer all day. And guess what? I did better than I normally do sitting around all day. So I'm going to try to take that lesson and move that forward into this week and the coming weeks, just not feeling the need to be in front of my screen 24 hours a day. So I'm going to really do my best, to really only trade the best opportunities, which is how it should always be, right? But definitely not try to force trades. And I know we talk about this a lot, but I actually kind of really put it into practice there versus just talking about it. So don't be surprised if I'm talking about good opportunities that I don't personally take. For me, it's got to be like a grand slam. If it's not a good trade, or if it's not a great trade, I'm just not going to take it. Now, that being said, we obviously have a lot of movement in the market. Starting on the last Friday, the whole China tariff thing came out. We're going to put 100% tariff on China, and then the market crashes, Bitcoin crashes. Then over the weekend, it's like, oh, it was all a big misunderstanding, and now the market's gapped back up. So we've got a lot of volatility from that news, and we've got a lot of movement in the market with pre-market movers, day one gappers. To be honest with you, I really haven't been keeping tabs on multi-day moves while I was gone last week. So I'm going to be the first person to tell you that, I'm going to be kind of rediscovering some movers this week myself. So, I'm not going to be coming in here with a massive game plan today. This is just going to be getting back in the rhythm, getting back into, what we got here? Oh, a little spike here. Yeah, just kind of getting back into the rhythm here. Not going to try to force a bunch today, but we've got some really impressive day one gappers, I will say. So I do want to go through at least what I think could be top opportunities. But again, I'm going to be really selective this week. That's my goal. It's funny, right? I was out and about during a lot of the market hours. So unless I had a really great trade, I would just, look on, keep tabs on my phone. Take trades if there was something, but that's going to be what I try to do this week. I'd like to go play some golf this week, so yeah, end of day. Yeah, any, I don't remember where I was going with that. I just got a message from someone on my other computer here, but yeah, so let's go over some moves today anyways. Day one gapper wise, we got STI, not the bad kind of STI. Hopefully, I don't know. I guess it depends on what it does. Does it does it want to be the bad kind of STI, or does it want to be one that runs? Now we've got, so this is up 100% this morning. I haven't even looked at news on this yet. Was this? No, yeah, this is the day one gapper here. So we got battery system. Oh, battery news. Yeah, there you go. A lot of, I think, the big theme, I think probably for the coming week or two, and a lot of it's going to kind of be broadly related. So the tariffs that were announced on Friday that have kind of been maybe walked back a bit had to do with rare earth minerals. And so, the rare earth mineral exports from China and everything. I'm assuming a lot of plays in the space are going to be revolving around rare earth minerals, are going to be revolving around, and batteries are going to have, lithium and stuff like that. So AI, of course, still going to be a main theme this week. We'll take a look over here at ELBM. This had, I'm seeing no news on this. Big gap up here. It's a battery play. There you go. Battery play. PMAX. This was an after hours runner on Friday afternoon. I actually remember seeing this. Just kind of came out of nowhere. I don't remember seeing any news. And no, there's no news on this. This just had a big gap up this morning, big fade off from there. NDRA, crypto treasury news. At the market, private placement, $14 million. All right. Again, nothing super special. Nothing that's really catching my eye. I'll be honest. STI definitely seems to be kind of the one here. This GWH got some AI headline this morning. That wasn't the reason for the gap up. GWH has been a bit of a multi-day mover. Oh, maybe not. Maybe this was just after hours. We had, this is a chart I was keeping an eye on, just because it had this big volume day. I was like, I remember watching this ticker from somewhere. Yeah, this has just been making some little slight moves, nothing really big and crazy here, but now we got our gap up. Anyways, STI to me, it's our top gapper of the day. It's also the one with seemingly kind of the most legitimate standing news here. Basically, advanced UPS battery system tailored for AI data centers. Kind of got all of the buzzwords there in this headline. So this is our top gapper. It's a low float, million share float. It's not like, so it's weird the way this is moving. It went straight up 100%, gave back all of its gains, then broke out and is now just kind of chilling near that breakout level. I'm gonna be the first person to tell you that I don't love that. Like, I don't love the way it's moved here. So this is probably the one I keep an eye on the most if we get clean action. ELBM to me faded off a bit too much. PMAX faded off too much. NDRA faded off too much. GWH, again, doesn't have any true news for this gap up. That's right. Okay, this was a day one gapper on Friday. That's day one gapper on Friday. We had this midday fake breakout over pre-market highs really quick. Then it just kind of faded back down. To me, that just indicates that it's pretty trappy, right? We couldn't really close the day near highs. We had kind of started off the day breaking a lot of support levels, lower low, lower low, lower low. Then we start getting fake breakouts. Not the easiest mover. Again, I'm going to be extra picky this week, so you're going to be hearing a lot of nitpicking out of me. But yeah, we'll be talking. We'll be doing some Q&A here, I'm sure, in a little bit. We'll be talking about Trade Funder, come 25, 30 minutes or so. Depends on what we got cooking in the market here. But lots of opportunity. I'm just going to be really selective on that opportunity personally. So anyways, folks, we got about a minute left before market opens. I'm just going to get a couple of things ready on this computer. All right, and the market is officially open. So STI will be my main just watch here out of the gates for a couple of minutes. See, I don't love when our day one gappers just give a really strong, and I know this sounds counterintuitive in a way, when they give a really strong push right out of the gates, because a lot of times what that does, it just ends up trapping longs, kind of breaking through these pre-market resistance levels. I can't buy a day one gapper that just pops like that do need to see some form of consolidation. I need to see some form of trying to trying to consolidate a bit. But again, as long if we can hold up, that's great. It's just a matter of normally when they do this, it just ends up trapping a lot of longs. We'll just keep kind of keeping an eye through some of these here. Where's view app on this? Oh, we're at view app right now. It didn't really open that far under view app. PMAX, what do we got here? View apps up at 7. Oh, Lord. NDRA. View app up here at 11. Tiny float on that thing. NDRA is 745,000 share float. By the way, I thought I saw a comment from Wick Tickler that yes. Wick Tickler said, I'll be on as long as I can. My power just flickered. So either there's a storm moving in or my wife just rolled her eyes hard enough to trigger a gamma squeeze. Listen, Wick, I'm not going to be the one to tell you, but normally from personal experience, it's never really the power going out. It's normally the lady cutting off power. So you have to, take a break, spend some time with her for breakfast. And all of a sudden the power magically comes back on right after you're done sitting down at the table for a little bit, Yeah, STI halted down. That's what I'm talking about. I don't love those pops right out of the gates. It's just a lot of times it traps longs. No, that's not enough reason to short. It's not necessarily enough reason to just like blindly short into that. But because they can also they run farther than expected too. It goes both ways. But just more often than not, it feels like we see something like this. A lot of trapping action. Nothing popping super aggressively out of the gates here. GWH, I'll be the first to say that this does have the most, multi-day feeling set up to it. Just in the sense that it's now day 2 of the move. Held yesterday's highs on this dip here. Yeah, not bad. Not bad. Not super convicted in anything here, but yeah, it's kind of a bummer here about STI. That was ideally kind of now. Listen, again, trading a lot of times is a game of just playing reverse psychology 83 times over. But if this thing recovers, right? If we hold up realistically, I think we'd probably need to hold 9. There's a lot of range on this, but I think realistically, let's say we hold $9, right? If we curl back through 13, now we've kind of got a position where I would imagine a lot of shorts are trapped, kind of risking that high a day here. I like that we didn't break out over pre-market highs. We popped, but couldn't break pre-market highs. So it probably didn't trap as many long as we would have if it had broken over pre-market highs. And now you've also got a position too. By the way, this is a lot of what I like to do when I'm kind of thinking of a trade plan is, I often talk out loud, but I'm just thinking of like the different ways that it could play out. I'm not going to try to sit here and predict what it is going to do, but I am going to sit here and think of ways that I could see this playing out if the trade does work kind of in the way that I'm looking for, right? So if we end up breaking over highs and there are shorts that are wanting to get in this, they might want to be risking pre-market highs, right? So they might not instantly stop out over a high of day break, which could get a little bit interesting because then if we get that swipe through pre-market highs, that's when I'd expect the thing to start really getting parabolic, speeding up a bit, and hopefully not a trap. Hopefully it not be just a big trap candle. My wife is RH negative. Somehow she can cut out the lights with just deep thoughts. That's funny. I just got a question. You don't love ELBM? I mean, it's now our top percent gainer. Um, yeah, I don't love it. No, I don't. It's a nice move, but I don't love it. It just, it's a battery play, right? So I'm gonna be the first person to say that it's the right theme, it's the right sector for sure. But it just when a stock fades off that hard pre-market, again, we talk about it a lot. It's got a lot of glass walls it's got to get through, right? So we've got here pre-market 470. Obviously, we've got our pre-market high 534. We've got this kind of key level here at 390, and then another level down here around 350. Right, so we're above some of those levels, but we've only briefly remember. Matt Monaco. One of the best things he says is time is the best indicator, right? It just shot right through these, which is fine, but it's the longer it consolidates, the more likely those breakouts are to hold. And we've just kind of been popping up on very heavy volume. We still have one more, one more resistance level. And I'm not going to sit here and say I'm 100% right. I'm certainly not going to sit here and say that actually. Again, it needs to be like picture perfect for me. And it's not a picture perfect day one gapper by any means for me yet. Is that to say it's not going to work? Not at all. This could go to 10, right? But I want something that I think could reasonably think, oh my gosh, I could see this going to 10. Very realistically here. I've seen this kind of setup before. I'm not going to sit here and say that ELBM follows that kind of guideline for me. I see a lot of these give their spikes through pre-market high and then just fail. The reason a lot of these stocks run, right, is because there are either insiders or big institutions that just need liquidity, hopefully not of you, but of traders who are just blindly buying that strength to end up selling into. And so when it just spikes this heavy on this much volume and then everyone's chasing it up 200%, we haven't really had enough time for it to consolidate through these breakout levels. And a lot of times that could just lead to a really aggressive sell-off. I've seen that pattern play out a lot more on a stock like this than I have on a stock like this just running to $20 and being the black swan of the day. But I'm not going to sit here and say I would die on that hill. But I need a way to look at this stock and say, this just gave me a reason to buy. There's been nowhere to buy. It's just gone straight up. So unless you're just okay blindly chasing strength, I'm just not okay doing that personally. STI moving again. Yep, holding that. Not really like moving, but it's holding VWAP, holding our $10 area. I would expect a lot of chop around here. I've seen a pattern. I will say a pattern that I see a lot, and we've seen a lot over the last couple of weeks, is a move like this. We halt down, shorts start loading up into it, and just kind of grinds back up, like for a couple of minutes, and then all of a sudden breaks out and goes parabolic. That pattern I've seen play out, especially recently. Oh, ELBM halted up. Is that a volatility halt? It's pretty crazy if that's a volatility halt. Let's see. Yeah, that is volatility halt. Didn't really have that much range on that candle I halted up on. That's interesting. I would say that shorts are probably pretty trapped right now. I'll be the first person to admit that. Oops. But yeah, there's just nowhere to buy it. Like at least now on STI, we've got a level, right? PMAX, nothing. NDRA, nothing. GWH, rejected VWAP. Not bad. Not a bad VWAP reject. I can see this doing something. This is trading a lot of volume. Holding up fine. It's just, again, I don't love stocks under VWAP either. That's another half the battle. ELBM unhalt level showing about 540. Yeah, roughly. It's a little too early to know for sure. We should know closer to, should unhalt at 944. The time, 944, not the price. See, I should have some more information as that gets closer. Multi-day mover to keep an eye on, by the way, is TMC. That has been a crazy one. That's a rare earth mineral company or metal company, rather. I actually swung this. I had a really good swing trade on this. Back here, was it? Yeah. So we had this big kind of breakout move. I bought the dip here at 230 on, yeah, this day right here. Gosh, what's this day? It must have been this day. Or did I buy the dip here at 275? Sold aggressively into the $3 push. It was a pretty small percentage when I just had a lot of size on it. And then when we dipped here, then I started building in. I'm not a great swing trader. I'm the first person to admit that. Started buying in here in the 230s, adding into this breakout. I got my average up to like 310, 315. And then I was risking down here though to 220s. And so then when we got this day here, I added pretty aggressively as we rebroke over 3. We kind of had this trend line break, and I got scared, I'll tell you, because I added pretty aggressively at this trend line break. We just had this fake breakdown, so I added here like 315 pretty aggressively, and we start redipping. And I knew risk level became that 280, and on this day we tapped 283. That's 3 cents away from getting stopped out, but then it ended up working. My best sell, I believe, was around $6.50 a share. So it was a really good trade. Didn't have a ton of size into this, but yeah, I mean, really, really nice move. From there, it's gone incredibly parabolic. It's gone up to 10 here, but I mean, just a really strong move. I wish I had more size and more conviction in this. I don't think I would have been able to hold through that pullback. I mean, that was a 50% pullback there, but it's just gone straight back up. The sector is really hot. No doubt about that. ELBM showing an unhalt at 532, by the way. That's TI. Let's keep an eye on that. Nothing crazy. GWH, I don't love that we're breaking out and just trading kind of the same volume. It's just, again, very grindy action. ELBM kind of the top. TMC, the Tim Sykes favorite. Is it? Oh, yeah, he's had a lot of day trades on this. Yeah, I mean, the truth is, when you have a stock that just goes up, it's pretty easy to get good day trades on it, even if it's not incredibly volatile. All right, ELBM, we're going to be keeping an eye on this here for that unhalt. Got about 13 seconds left. And I don't have a trade on this, but it'll be fun to watch. $532. Unhalted down. Well, I mean, it unhalted and then just went straight down, I guess. Probably a decent dip buy, but I'm not touching it. Probably a lot of shorts loading up right there, though. I have to imagine. Just saying, oh, we didn't break out, and then they probably get squeezed out here. If I was really aggressive right now, I'd probably look to buy this dip, but I'm not. Again, less stress, the better for me. I don't need to be a part of this. So yeah, we got a lot of things going on here on ELBM. We got SSR on short seller restriction. So basically, what we tend to see on an SSR stock is, oh wow, that's ugly. We tend to see really aggressive snapbacks because as a short, you have to just continually chase it down. You can't get filled on the bid. You can only get filled on the ask. That's ugly. That is ugly. So yeah, you generally tend to get pretty aggressive snapbacks because you just get all these shorts that all of a sudden get their orders filled. Buyers are a little bit more in control of the level 2 in that sense. But yeah, that's weak. That's unfortunately nothing of note there. GWH also, I mean, just solid grind up. Not really a parabolic explosive mover, but very nice grind. TMC, this is it's just what an impressive chart. That's, I mean, that is, it's up from what, 60, 70 cents a share, 70 cents a share up to over $10 in the past. And I mean, this year to date, basically. Really, really strong move. And this is what we see in hot sectors. This is a hot sector chart. In fact, I mean, I remember when I bought here, I was like, I'm holding this to $10. It's probably going to be end of the year. That's kind of my thought, but I'm not a good swing. I don't have that level of patience. I wish I did. I really wish I had that level of patience, but I don't. That's a maybe one day kind of thing. Tactical Trading says, look like rare earth, battery storage and data centers will be the theme going into the holidays. I would be inclined to agree. I mean, AI is kind of leading the sector, right? Like overall, AI is our sector leader, quote unquote, just in the sense that like everything is kind of revolving around AI. Why do we need batteries? Why do we need rare earth minerals? I don't know what I must have accidentally highlighted someone's comment there. Yeah, I think AI related stuff is just going to keep being hot probably for the next like year, right? I mean, as long as the market is holding up and as long as Nvidia is holding up, honestly. Will we come to a spot where, the bubble kind of finally bursts? Probably. But how long is that going to be? Is that going to be 2 more years? Speaking of another sector, obviously quantum. These are still going strong. I know everyone on Twitter everyone and their mother was talking about shorting these things. And listen, that's great. I hope they made money. They had, 2 days of pretty aggressive pullbacks. I don't know. I don't see a blow off day here. I don't see a blow off candle anywhere. Like there's, for example, right? We're just gonna do a little talking here for a few minutes. Let's go to like something like GME. What day do you think? It's crazy. Like that volume can't be right. I don't think that volume candle's right. Like this is the type of range. This is the type of gap up. Like, so GME, you got to remember, right? GameStop. For those of you guys that remember, this thing was like $2.50, $3. Get this big push up from 5 to 9, right? It's when it starts moving like $20 a share at a time, when the range really starts to expand, that's when I'm going to be looking. But like RGTI, just been grinding up. And like, yeah, don't get me wrong, it's up from $15 up to $50 in the last like month. Is that explosive? Yes. But it hasn't like really given us a blow off range candle. Like if this thing went like 50 to 75 today, now I'm going to be looking. Now I'm going to be saying to myself, we're probably pretty close. We're probably a couple of days away, but like right now it's just consolidating up very slowly but surely. The range is, $5 a share a day, but like it's up and down. It's not $5 a share at this point is like just kind of the expected range on it per day. So I'm not so sold on this short idea quite yet. Unfortunately, I'm not really seeing a whole lot of opportunity here yet. STI just kind of falling lower and lower. Again, I'm going to say it 84 times. I am just going to be extra selective. So let's, how about this? We got about 10 minutes. I'm not really seeing a trade for me quite yet. So let's do some Q&A. Hit me with some questions in the chat. Let's do some chatting here. DMC is ripping. Yeah, it is. That is true. It is ripping. Um, yeah, really, really strong $2 share move. Again, same problem. There was a decent little buy spot here. Um, Here around like 970, 980. That's it though. Like it's just I wouldn't want to just be buying straight up strength on this. But no doubt about it, that's a nice move. That's a little bit too choppy of a multi-day name. It's really sector related at this point. The movement on this, which is good. I've just never been a great solely buy because of the sector kind of trader. Elaborate on the top gainer under 5 scanner. The top gainer under 5. I don't know what you mean. Under 5 what? What time frame chart do you use when entering a trade? Um, yeah, I mean it depends on the setup, right? Like generally speaking, for day one gappers, I'm going to be looking at a 1 minute chart, especially in the morning. We just don't really have enough data yet to go on a longer time frame. But later in the day, later in the afternoon, for a swing trade, I'm going to be looking at like 15-minute charts. Um, yeah, it's very dependent. I'm not, and I listen. You just got it's so dependent on what your goals as a trader are too. If you're a day trader and you're really looking for short-term price action, probably the maybe 5, but 1, 3, or 5 minute charts are probably be more up your alley. If you're trading stocks based on a really strong daily chart, you're probably going to want to look at like a 15-minute chart. For example, we go to TMC. This is a multi-day setup, right? Okay. How did I get? There we go. Right. So TMC, right? If I'm looking at this from like a multi-day perspective, I'm probably going to look at it like this. I'm going to look at it and say like, all right, what's the theme? And this is a large part of the reason I didn't really want, I didn't see a buy on this today. Breakout, fail, breakout, fail. Now we break out and it's working, right? But so this is what I'm going to look at and just say, okay, what are my thoughts here? But I'm going to look at it on a longer time frame perspective than like a 1 minute chart. But if I were to go over to STI, right, and do the same thing, I'm not going to get quite as much information on it. I'll get some, but that's all I get. It's not a multi-day mover. These are the only candles that there are. And it tells the same story in a way, just with not as much data. So yeah, I mean, the candle time frame, it's going to be a lot more dependent on what the setup is and what kind of trader you are. I've been trading pre-market lately. I traded a little bit of pre-market in Europe just because like 4 a.m. is 10 a.m. in Europe. So I traded a little bit, but generally it's been more in the afternoon for me. How do you look for your swing trade criteria? Twitter. Like I'm just finding charts that other people are talking about. And again, I'm not a great swing trader. I want to preface that 84 times over. I am not really a great swing trader. I like trading strong multi-day charts. Yeah. Is Trade Fund or a direct access broker? I don't know. I'll ask them. What behavior will be familiar to identify when a stock is heavily shorted or loaded with shorts? That's a good question. Again, we're going to go back to it depends on the time frame, right? What I mean by that is like you can find that information pretty readily available if you just go to like I don't know, like if I just type in a random stock on Google and I say like TMC short interest, right? You just type in like a stock like that you're looking at for a longer time frame. They updated, I think, like every 2 or 4 weeks, the short interest. So like TMC, 17% of the float is shorted. And that was recorded on September 15th, 2025. Right. So like if that's the way you want to look at it, you can look at it that way. But that's going to be more for like a swing chart. Now, if you want to look at like a day trade chart, you can't just say, all right, clearly 83% of the float is short right now. You just kind of have to use your judgment as to, oh, I'm frozen. Come on. You got this. Maybe not. Well, I can kind of explain while my whole computer's frozen. I'm doing too many things. Come on. There we go. Oh. Come on. Let me close out of some tabs here. I've got way too many things open on my computer right now. There we go. Okay. Now, another way that we can look at how heavily shorted a chart or stock probably is, see if I can find the day here. Let's see. Let me go to neg real quick. So the daily chart, I can show you an example. What day was it? Was it this day here? 7-11. I feel like it was this day. Yes, this day here. Right? So take a look here, right? We have this big parabolic move up. But then like we get our big high volume candle. We get a high of day break rejection, a failed high of day break with a hard slam down. We can assume that either one, a lot of people sold their long position here, or two, that a lot of people sold their short position or like sold short here. I went short, right? And then we get the, the breakout from there, and that ends up leading kind of this bigger end of day squeeze. Generally speaking, though, what I mean by like what I'm saying here is that you're going to want to look at candles that have really high wicks, high volume, big wicks, right? So for example here, right, on STI, pretty big volume on this 15-minute candle, pretty big wick. So I'm going to assume that this is an area where even if there aren't necessarily a lot of shorts in the position, any short who did get in here is up on their money pretty aggressively, right? So if we curl through that level, shorts should theoretically then be underwater. Any short who's still holding should be underwater at that point. If you see a stock like GWH and you really long, if you see a stock like GWH and you really long wick, is that just maybe and a really long wick? Is that just market makers hitting the stop losses for longs? Yeah, I mean it can be. It's again, I'm trying less to. Okay, so I feel like I see what you're talking about. I don't really see a really long wick on something like GWH quite yet. But like, one second. Like, I try to get out of the mindset of like, it's the market makers. It's probably just longs just getting stopped out, right? Because like, our stocks manipulated for sure, right? But in the same breath, it's just because a lot of people stop out at the same spot, right? Like on something like GWH, yeah, if we see a big wick and then it just instantly recovers back, it was probably just a lot of longs getting stopped out of their position. Maybe a big institution came in and bought, whatever the case might be. But yeah, it's whether it's manipulators, whether it's market makers, whatever, it's probably just longs getting stopped out of their position. Generally speaking, when we see a big wick either direction, that was somebody getting stopped out, and then the price re-regulates or comes right back. And so back to Faisal's question earlier, I didn't forget about you, Faisal. You said $5. So elaborate on the top gainer under $5 scanner. What do you look for? I don't use that, so I don't know. I just look at my top percent gainers list over here, right? I don't care what the price is, I'm just looking at the kind of hottest stocks of the day. And then seeing, all right, I'm going to go through each chart. So we got XCH coming up now. This is a newer mover here. Nothing really aggressive. But what am I looking for? It depends on the setup. It depends. Is it a day one gapper? Is it a multi-day mover that gapped up big? Is it what's the setup? So, if I'm looking at, say, something like STI at this point, which I don't see a trade on this anymore, but I'd probably be looking for a gap and crap reversal, right? If I was going to look to long this, I'd want to be seeing this start to consolidate here on VWAP and then try to run back up. At this point, I don't think that's ultra likely. Something like GWH, I'm going to want to be looking for at this point. This is on our top percent gainers list. It's not under $5, but I'm going to be looking for this to hold VWAP to start getting in a position where, obviously we're getting very volatile now. We're getting quite aggressive. I want to see it hold VWAP. So again, it's very dependent on what the setup I'm trading is. Where is Matt? Sorry, I just joined. Sorry if you already mentioned it. Matt's just busy this morning. I should be here with you every day this week. How do you feel about day trading high floats like RGTI, NNE? That's a good question. My personal preference, I don't love day trading them. I'd rather swing trade them. But that's just me. I know some people day trade those really well. You have to be more patient. They just require more patience. Very similar to like a TMC style thing, right? Where it's like, this is great. It's great. It's up 25%. That's a great move. It's just, you got to be more patient with it. That's all. Very, very strong move here. Yeah. Anyways, guys, these are great questions. Glad they're coming in here. But again, I don't really have a day trade that's up my alley yet right now. So I think we're going to just hop over and talk a little bit about Trade Funder. That is the reason we're here, which I know is ironic. Bryce, I thought I had to trade every day. You don't have to trade every day. But beautiful. Oh, FlashNet stream. Hit, just sold my TMCWW warrants for a nice little gain. Thanks, Bryce. Of course. Yeah, again, at the very least, what I like being able to do, even if I'm not taking a trade necessarily myself, I'd love to at least put you guys in front of good tickers, because my setup, again, I'm not going to sit here and say I want you guys following the trades that I take. I want you guys learning your own system. But I'm going to be putting you in front of what I believe are some of the highest quality trades of the day. And then the way that you trade them is completely up to you. So, on a stock like TMC, the thing moved 25%. Actually, by the way, this is something that we were just talking about here. Let me hop on over to Trade Funder really quick. So by the way, guys, again, Trade Funder, the reason that I'm here today, and I want to bring them up really quick. I know most of you guys are already familiar with Trade Funder at this point. But, for those of you guys that aren't using them yet, for those of you guys that have seen this a few times, but you're still a little bit curious, I'm going to talk to you about Trade Funder. So Trade Funder is a fully funded trading account. The way I see it, if you want to take trades, you need a brokerage account, right? Trade Funder is going to get you access to that ability to trade freely as much as you want and with a lot of capital. So I'm going to drop a link here in the chat. Actually, I'll just drop it over there now. Why don't I do that? For those of you guys that are already good to go. Just dropped it in the chat. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, you should see that popping up. If you're on Twitter, you're going to need to go over to YouTube or Facebook, or you could just type in the link that I've got that's just across your screen. So again, once you click that link, you'll come over here. You can click Get Your Funded Stock Account Now, get started in less than 90 seconds, and it really is less than 90 seconds. Basically, Trade Funder, again, fully funded trading account. They're partnered with one of the largest prop trading firms in the country, T3. Anyone goes through T3. And down here, you'll go ahead and see basically what you're getting with Trade Funder and all that. So you're going to get a $25,000 funded account, meaning you've got access to $25,000 worth of capital, except wait, there's more. You actually get access to $100,000 of capital. It's just that you can't put all $100,000 in one ticker. You have to max out each position at 25K. Right. So let's say you want to buy $25,000 worth of TMC and then $25,000 worth of RGTI and then $25,000 worth of another stock. You can do that, but you can't go buy $100,000 worth of TMC. At least not yet. Right. As your account grows, then you can start increasing that number. In fact, if you go ahead and reach more than $15,000 in profits, Trade Funder is going to reach out to you and see if you want to get access to a bigger account. We've got traders using Trade Funder that are now trading with like $100,000, $250,000 accounts through them. So it's pretty cool to see. Now, again, the way that Trade Funder works, by the way, they're not just handing you over $25,000. They're going to ask for a contribution on your end. That's going to be $899. So it's $800 plus a $99 platform fee. Now, if you go over to Trade Funder's website, if you don't want the discount, you could get the same thing for $1,400 plus a $99 platform fee. But the link that I just dropped in the chat, it's going to save you $600, which honestly, if your first Trade Funder attempt doesn't go well and you want to try it again, it basically gets you access to another account for that kind of same price. So, but again, they're not just going to let you lose all $25,000. They're actually going to make sure they're going to listen. They understand that $800, if you lose that, they're not just going to cut you off. They're going to cut you off after a $3,750 drawdown. Right. So basically the way that works is if you lose, again, more than like roughly $3,700 over the course of a couple of days, they're going to say, hey, you're done. Right. You need to make sure that you're following good risk management principles. They have a daily loss limit of $1,000. Again, this is just so that like, if you're in a bad headspace, you're not trading well, it basically puts you in trading timeout for the day. They'll say, come back tomorrow. But again, this is just a really great opportunity for traders who do have smaller accounts right now, who aren't trading. Maybe you're struggling with the pattern day trader rule, which I remember that it sucked. That's when you have under $25,000 in your account and you can only take 3-day trades a week. I actually think this is really a great solution for those of you guys that just need to take more trades to get more data, to learn more about yourself. You don't need to risk $1,000 a day. If you want to risk $1 per trade and learn this way, you can do that too. You don't need to trade every day. But more importantly, just simply having access to more money on something like TMC especially, right? If you have a $2,000 account right now or even a $5,000 account, you can buy like 200 shares max. I guess you buy like 100 shares of TMC with a $2,000 account, or I'm not good at math. 300 shares with a a $5,000 account, 500 shares. With Trade Funder, you could buy theoretically, what's that? 2,500 shares, 2,500 shares worth of TMC, which TMC today went from $920 up to $1140. So that takes your potential profit from like $300 or $400 to like $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 with just simply having access to a bigger account. And the truth is, we're kind of just talking about market themes. In hotter markets like this, where our markets are more sector driven, more theme driven, a lot of times the best types of trades kind of are slower moving, bigger picture trades, like RGTI or TMC or NNE, or there's countless we could name. They're not necessarily the day one gappers. They're the multi-day movers that they might move like 20 or 30% a day. This is where having access to more money, a bigger account, is going to just be able to help traders who are already in the right spot really grow that capital. So I think this is a really good opportunity. Anyways, I just want to let you guys know, I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys that this is the perfect solution for anybody. I don't think there's any such thing as a perfect solution, especially not in trading. But what I will say is I do think this is as close as it gets, especially for a lot of you guys that do need access to more capital, that also want to have the ability to just take bigger positions. So what I'd encourage you to do is I'm going to go ahead and drop that link one more time. If this is something you're interested in, it's a really great discount. That's why I'm really happy to be here as a partner with them, because I wish I had access to this when I first got started trading. It just didn't exist. You couldn't do anything like this. You had to go like with a really sketchy offshore broker that offered you like 6-to-1 leverage. And this, they're through the US. It's one of the first of its kind. It's really cool. They're partnered with one of the best prop trading firms in the country, T3. So it's really cool that, you guys are actually able to get access to this. Tactical trading brings up a really great point too. There's a once-a-month platform fee. Obviously, we've talked about that. But you can't trade after hours, but you can start trading at 4 a.m. So it goes 4 a.m. to 4 p.m. is when you can trade with Trade Funder, which is super cool. Because most brokers they don't allow you to start trading at 4 a.m. E-Trade, Thinkorswim, Schwab. You normally need a specialty broker to start trading. Excuse me, at 4 a.m. Trade Funder, you can start trading right at 4. Pretty cool, especially given that a lot of the big movers are happening in pre-market. Can you short and Trade Funder? Yes. Yeah, you can short and Trade Funder. They need to be an easy to borrow stock. So it just depends on if the stock is easy to borrow or not. So I'll be the first person to tell you, if you are just trying to short day one gappers, probably not the right solution for you here. You're probably going to need to go put at least $25,000 into a broker. Basically, most of the day one gapper shorts that you want to take, you're going to need a really specialty broker for those. But be able to short, easy to borrow trades, really great solution here, and you're going to get access to more money to be able to do that. So yeah. What is the max drawdown limit mean on Trade Funder? Yeah, again, I would encourage you to click that link and go find it, but I'll click it here for you. So again, if there's anything that you guys have any questions about here, click on that link, and all you'll do is you'll scroll down right down here. And guess what? All you got to do is click on one of these little arrows. So max end of day drawdown, the maximum amount you are allowed to lose from peak equity, calculated at the end of each trading day, right? So it'll literally let you know that's just the most amount of money you can lose before they shut off your account versus the daily loss limit, the maximum amount of money you are allowed to lose in one trading day. So if you lose more than $1,000 in a day, they're not going to shut off your account, right? But they will say, all right, you got to go into trading timeout, come back tomorrow, try again. You got to remember, right? Trade Funder, this is a business for them. They need to make sure that it's an 80-20 profit split. This is normal for prop firms to have a profit split. Fortunately, Trade Funder is actually better than most prop firms regarding their profit splits. Most are like 60-40 or 70-30. Trade Funder is 80-20. They want to be very generous for traders, especially here as a part of the stocks trade community. So basically, they're going to keep 20%. If you make 10 grand, you'll get to keep $8,000 of it, but they don't want to go out there and risk all $25,000 of their money. So they're going to have some of these, stop loss limits, which I think is more than fair. And honestly, it's going to make you a better trader. But anyways, yeah. So for me, again, I'm not going to tell you the way that you should do it, but I will tell you the way I would do it. If I was able to have this opportunity when I first got started, I would look to make like $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. Pull out my starting investment of $800, and the rest is risk-free. If I screw it up, I just play with the house's money, get access to another one of these for $800. Now I'm back to break even. That's the way I would do it, but it's really completely up to you and your risk tolerance, the way that you like to trade, the way that you want to manage your risk. But that's how I would do it personally. It's certainly an option that you can do, and it's really cool to see that traders are really starting to get it. Bryce, where have you been? Jara, I encourage you to come earlier, Jara. Where were you? You're probably like, well, you haven't been here for a week, so I didn't know you were going live. I'm in Europe, so I've been traveling. But I'm back. I'll be back here about every day this week. I don't know for sure if I'll be around Monday morning next week. I've got one more big, long road trip. I got to drive back home to Colorado, but I'll be here every day this week with you guys. Anyways, ladies and gents, click that link. That's your homework for today. Click that link for those of you guys that are interested in getting access to a fully funded trading account through Trade Funder. If you join with this link, you're going to get it for $600 off. It'll be a total of $800 plus a $99 platform fee. I've just gone ahead and I've dropped that link for you in the comment section. So I'm going to get skedaddling on out of here. For those of you guys that are in the daily income trader system, I'm going to be going right over into our webinar here in about 15 minutes. Yeah, Flash. Now I'll talk more about Scotland tomorrow. It was an incredible time. I can't wait to go back, but I love you guys all. That's your homework. Again, click on that link. And if you guys have any questions, reach out to Trade Funder. It's literally down at the bottom of the page, right down here. You'll just be able to go over, hop on over to their email, their support. They'll reach out to you really quickly here and be able to get back in contact with you. So don't answer any questions you got, guys. Love you as always. I will see you guys back here tomorrow. Hopefully you guys are all having a great start to your week. Bye, everybody.